Okay, we'll try to start loading the scene. To create the load scene, it means you want to create the scene that you complete the game, and then you want to load another scene. For example, you want to reload the whole game. So the scene that you just being load is the hierarchy here that you see in the game world. Before I do that, I will create a new empty scene. When you create a new empty scene, let's just basic URP, and I will just create the UI and canvas system with it comes with the event. In this case, with the canvas, I'm gonna set it into the scale with screen size. I'm gonna make sure that I look at the scene from the 2D. Then right click UI, create canvas. No, not another canvas, sorry, but you can have another canvas, yes, but we don't need it. I'm gonna create a UI, maybe panel, and the panel just cover the whole area of the scene. So I will just call it main GUI, main GUI. Then we will right click, create the UI, yes, and the button with the text mesh bow. So with the button here, we will just change the text property. Chup chup, chup chup. To have been the word start game. Right, and feel free to add any text. So we can add something like text mesh bow, my game, and set the color to be black. In this case, I will just simply drag it up, and the start game, of course, could be something around here. We already finished our GUI for the main game. Next, we will create the load managers that gonna let you load another scene. Here I already opened the scene manager load scene async for us. So we will implement the code that they provide here. To create the code, just create the new folder in your package. I would want to have the scene management into another package. Right click, create the C# script, scene management. There is a scene manager already, a package name. We actually have Unity the scene management, which is a very common word. Hopefully it won't conflict. You can also make it distinctly different from the Unity by using the namespace. For example, I can just namespace visit dot scene management, which means I'm gonna have my own set of the scene management class. I could even use the code from Unity, so let's just start with that. With the start, we will create the enumerator. So inside the update, we won't do anything. We will provide the function enumerators and load capital, of course, load scene async. Inside we will receive the string scene name. In this case, enumerator is a function that call, and it could be some feature that needs some time to finish. So we could just wait for a moment using the yield return now or anything. And the code that they provide here is very useful, so we use that. Application load the scene in background. This is particularly good and it won't crash the scene. In this case, scene 2 was a scene build index number 1, but you can also use the name of the scene. So I will just create the function that load the level 1, for example, the name of the scene. So you have different level, you can load other level. And when the async operation is load, notice that it uses a feature from Unity engine. The async load here have the function, have the parameter is done to check whether it's finished loading or not. So we could simply reuse the code here and check whether it's done or not. If it is not done, it return you mean we wait. So whenever we call this operation, or while here will keep doing until it is finished. We can just debug.log and tell the world that we is loading scene, and we can plus the scene name, which means if we have the scene name, we can also bring the scene name here into the parameter instead. Just make sure it is the string. On the start, you don't do anything. So we have the enumerators that can allow us to load the scene. We need to create another public function. So public void load scene async, which can call the enumerators. In this case, we also receive the string scene name, which gonna be the same parameter we pass into here. And to call the enumerators, we need to use the feature start coroutine, and inside the start coroutine, it is the function name and the parameter scene name. So with the enumerators, we kind of call ambitious. Okay, it's the same name, right? Load scene async coroutine, and we could just make the name different, right? So one of them is the actual coroutine, and one of them is the function to expose to other feature in the game. Just load a new scene. In this case, we have the scene management. We can go back to the unities. We could also create the empty object called game managers and reset it to 0 if you must. Equip with the code scene management, and then inside the scene management we don't see any feature, right? But with our function, let's just check whether we have any error or not. In the button here, we can check the on click. It is the unity event when we click on it if we call this function. So we'll plus and register the game manager to here. With the game manager, we have the function scene management, the code that we just created, and the load scene async is here. The coroutine will not export to this interface because it is private, but any public function will be shown here. So I will just click load scene async, and I need to know the scene name, which means you need to have the gameplay scene. For example, scene number 1. So I'll call it level 1. The name is sensitive, so maybe you want to make sure you didn't use a special character, and that's it. Press enter. So whenever I click on here, it will load the new scene, which means if I don't have the scene 1 here register into the game, when I click on it, it will tell you that okay, some editors for the version control is not enabled. When I click on it, it will show the error that level 1 cannot be loaded because there is no scene in the asset bundle. You need to add the scene built into the menu file build setting, which is making sense. So in this case, I will just open some random scene. Perhaps let's save this file and go to the yeah, this is a new scene that I just made. So I will just create another folder called my game scenes. Better use capital case and make it at least camel, right? So we've just called this main menu, right? And when I have my game scene like this, if I want to load this scene, I will just save as this scene. And you can have many copies of the same scene, just different name. Just go into this folder, call it level 1. So this is my game. When I click the play, I could just walk around, and I see some error for the version control as well. Still, I can play around with the world, and with this scene already saved into the my game scene level 1. All you need to do is just go to edit and go to file, build setting, and you notice that the sample scene, this scene is already registered and the index of it is 0. Load scene async actually receive the int as well if you know the index of this one, but we will just simply remove it by right click, remove selection. We'll drag the main menu into here as the first scene, index 0. We'll drag the level 1 to here as a level 1. So when I go back to that scene, I click the load new scene. This scene should be loaded automatically. So let's just go to the main menu scene, play. When you load a new scene, it means you reset everything you have here and load another scene which is on hierarchy. So unless you set anything to not destroy or load, everything will be removed. If you want to save data of the current gameplay, you need to create a class to keep data into the memory. For example, save it into the hard drive. When you click start game, it will take some time to load, and the debug that I just add here is loading level 1. As you see again, this is not the project error, it's just the version control error, so don't mind that. But when you click on it, it's becoming here, which means I can start playing the game while I still didn't pause and go to the scene 1, you see. And when the game finished, that's it, my game. Which means when you are in the level 1, for example, you can create the triggers that enable the game manager to load the same scene again. So I could just create the empty call game manager. Similarly, if you want to use it as a prefab, be my guest, you can create a game manager that have the script scene management and drag it into the perhaps your set or prefab folder. Do we have it? Yeah, maybe I need to drag it as a prefab, but again you can drag it into the asset folder, and you have the game manager that reuse the setup in everything. Let's assume that if I add, let's find my player here and 2D. If I just add something on the floor here, just right click and 3D object and maybe a capsule, and this is the monster. So I will just create the new material here. This is for the test case. You should keep the material into the material folder for the best part, but I'll just simply create the red enemy. And if I touch the red enemy, I kind of dead, for example. So you can do something like when the player dead, you can pop up the menu that you can load another scene. So when we think about that, we can just add another UI. Go to the UI and canvas, and it comes with the event system, of course, and stick to 2D. Then I will right click and create the UI and the panel. Just call it the game menu. This is a menu in game. So with the game menu here, I will press F to screen to see it on the screen. I will just right click and create the UI, perhaps a label first this time, game over, and select your option. Alright, we can make it a little big here and put it in the middle. And I will add the menu button, so I will right click UI and button text mesh pro. We just call this one restart button, and with the restart button, let's change the text here to the word restart. That's restart level. Perhaps reset this level. Let's create another one called back to main menu. In this case, the text would be back to menu, back to main menu, and you can just drag Y position down here a little bit. We can select both of the button by holding Control and increase the height to make sure it covers the side. There are better way to manage the menu and button. Maybe use the auto layout similar to Figma, but for now this is good enough for us. And make sure the canvas here use the scale with the screen size. So perfect. Anyways, we will just go to the button first. If we restart the button, the functionality of here is we will just link the game managers, and then we will just load scene async. Restart means loading this scene again, so we will load the level 1. Press enter. For the back to main menu, we will just create the game manager here again and load the scene string, right? And the name is the main menu. In this case, these two buttons allow us to go to different scene, and canvas here are actually the area on the screen. but the game object here, the panel, we can hide it or we can enable it, you see. So let's say if I let the player touch let's go to the player hold F. If the player hit this collider, the player dead, we can also create the triggers that enable the features. The code, I believe I have the detection interactable triggers. So if we create something like a trigger or collision, we can just create a code on trigger exit or on trigger stay. But I will create the temporary code for us to experiment. So I will go to asset, create the C# script, and this C# script could be the event triggers or the collision. I will just on collision action. If anything collide with this object, it will do the action. So let's just get in here, and we will write the code void on collision enter. It means when it collide with another rigid body. You could just call the unity event public unity event, that's it, and call it on collide event. In this case, you will need to add the include. If you use a Visual Studio, use the drop down here and includes using unity event. You will have some kind of drop down that look like the button you just made ago. So the technique to call the function that you have been registered is that check with the question mark whether it is empty or not. If it is not empty, invoke. That's it. And you could make sure that anything that touch this one has come with the specific tag. Otherwise, the capsule will touch the floor, right? And this action will always be called. So that's why we could also use public and string and target tag. And the default one, we could also set it to be players. Then with collision, it is any object with the collider that touch this one. If collision.gameObject.compare tag equal to the target tag we have, we will invoke the function. Otherwise, we won't do anything. Remember, you can also touch the ground or collide the ground. That's why we have these functionalities. So we will equip this with this red one. It just kind of when you touch the red one, it's game over. So we will equip the on collision, and you see this is the unity event that you just add. It allows you to add something that look like a button here, and the tag is a player. I will make sure that my player here has the code. The code is character collider controller. It actually is the collider, and the tag of the player is the player. And with the red game over here, whenever the player touch, I will enable the game menu that I just disabled a moment ago here, but the current one is not disabled, you see. I will just simply turn on the game menu using the game manager. So when you touch, turn on the game menu here, yes, and with the game object itself, we will just set the active to be true, so we enable it. So let's just play the game. If I go to the red one, I touch it, the collision does not happen, right? Okay. Maybe I didn't touch it properly. Capsule collider. I have the tag player, wasn't it? Chup. The tag player. Can we just check the code first? On collision, enter. Do we have the on collision? Let's check on collision. I believe we need something like a rigid body to make it work, if I remember correctly. Collision pass on collision, enter, stay and exit. Maybe I forget to add the rigid body. yeah, it happened. So when we just try to do something, don't get panic. I'm telling myself. Okay, to make two objects hit each other, it need a rigid body at least one of them. So let's check my player. I didn't have the rigid body, and for the game over here, I didn't have rigid body. I have only the collider. So perhaps I could add the rigid body, and rigid body here. If I want to use the gravity, it will drag the object down. Maybe yes, and then I will constrain the rigid body to not rotate the object around x and c. X and c mean we don't rotate the object if we calculate the physics this way or this way, but the green we can rotate it. So let's add the rigid body here and hope that the code collision enter work. Okay, try again. Did it collide? Alright, the code will just for the game menu to set active to be true. Alright, and we could also check whether we collide or not. So let's just debug.log on vision, enter. Okay. We can also check whether it's collide or not. Let's try again. Alright, clear. No, it does not enter. Very weird. What happens if I just add the new player, the collision collider, a box collider, and we're gonna make it a little up here that cover the whole body. If I touch here, yes. So if you use the code character controllers from the Unity, you need to have the collider separately. It will not enable the collision. Sometimes Unity hacks me. If you make a character with a rigid body and you have the collider in yourself, I think no problem. Very curious as well. If we disable this one first, if we add the rigid body simply to the player, and for the box we will just dragging down, right? So perhaps no, but anyways, if you have rigid body, you're gonna touch, and if I enable it, it touch and enable the menu. So let's restart the level. I hope you don't mind. The idea is I want to enable this menu and test this button. This button will load a new level called restart. So when you click on it, it just load the game again. Everything reset as nothing had happened. So you can use this mechanic to restart your game, right? And yes, I just simply add it during the play mode. So if I add the rigid body and freeze the rotation, would I still be able to touch? The answer is no. So you need a rigid body. You need a box collider, sorry, or any capsule collider. So I can also add the capsule collider that have the center of 1 and the height of 2. Just cover the 2 meter side of the player and just try to touch it. Yeah, just simply remove rigid body first. Touch. Not touching. And the red one here, we will enable the game menu perhaps, right? Can we make the capsule collider a little bigger? Yes. So all in all, you need to make it a little bigger and make it at least able to touch. And if I click the back to main menu, it just load the main game. I click the start game, it just load the same scene again. I hope you don't mind. You don't need a trigger. You can rig the game manager that when the player health go to 0, just enable this menu. And you can also add the feature to lock the player for not input anything, so it is out of scope of this record. So I think you understand now. So hopefully you get it done. Bye now, Chef.